Stuart, welcome to Kilmarnock. How delighted are you to be here?
I'm over the moon. I'm really grateful for the opportunity at what is a fantastic football club, steeped in tradition, history, a club that obviously I know well from playing against them as a player, being involved as a coach and a manager, and you know, it's a football club that does have a real distinct connection to the area, to the community, and you know, I think when given the opportunity to speak to the board of directors and make that communication with the football club, you start to see how invested they are, how much this football club means to them, and then, as I'm sure we'll talk about, there's a lot of visions and a lot of thought processes that start to line up. So I got a good feel for it really early on. Understand that the board went through a vigorous process, and I can genuinely tell you that I'm delighted to be sat here as the manager of Kilmarnock Football Club.
You have just kind of touched on it, but what sold you on this move to Kilmarnock?
I think you get a really early feeling from, you know, the kind of direction of travel that a football club has and what they want to take serious and what they want to invest time and resource into, and there's a number of facets, a number of aspects that really lined up with myself, and you know, I think trying to continue success on the pitch, because I need to stress that as well. It's been there's been a few good years here at Kilmarnock with the work that Derek had done, and I look to take that on and obviously put my own stamp onto it. You know, and when you start to look at things such as the success within an academy and that real drive and belief to try and promote your own young players, I think we all know that that's not just going to be that we throw 10, 11 young players into a team, but I think what I've always done, I think my track record will show you that, is that I'll always try to empower young players. I'll always try and clear that pathway and give them an opportunity to step forward, and that was something that was made clear. That's a vision from the board and where the football club wants to go. You know, I feel like I've got pretty decent experience now at my age as a manager to win games of football and try and have that track record of making the club competitive in what's a really difficult league. So of course that becomes an important aspect, and I think something, probably a third element of it is an element of player trading. I think that we all acknowledge now in Scotland that we're selling clubs, trying to do that at the optimum time, trying to make sure that this whole thing at a football club is sustainable, and that the club and the supporters gain out of seeing good players, you know, whether it be developing talent, you know, players that are recruited to the football club, but I think we all understand that wheel needs to keep turning as well. So those are the kind of three key points that we discussed and that I think that we're really aligned in. And as I say, those are three aspects that no matter what football club I was at, those are the three main principles of how I kind of look about football management. That's something that I'll take everywhere with me, and as I say, that connection really become apparent here.
And just on that theme, obviously our under-18s just lifted the Scottish Youth Cup, a very good academy here. How important is it to ensure there is a pathway for these boys coming through? There
needs to be, there really needs to be, as I say, I've always spoken about this, that what's the point in the academy if we're not going to try and allow that to flourish, and I need to say and go on record that that's happened here. You know, you look at guys like Bobby Wales and you look at David Watson, there's plenty of guys come through the football club and the system of late, you know, and for me it's just about trying to push that through and accelerate some of those players to see if there's an opportunity there for them. Again, I'll always say that those players have to earn the right, but again, testament to the academy coaches here, of all of which I think I know pretty well, some of them, and the fantastic work that was done last season and winning the Youth Cup, performing really well within the league. So that's a positive for a football club. That always, I believe, gives it that energy and it gives it that buzz, and as I say, as much as we can, trying to get that mixture between youth and experience, so that experience can try and help that youth progress, is something that I'll set out to try and achieve.
As you say, these players, they need to earn the right, but what do you look for as a coach when you're deciding if these boys are ready for the first team?
I think first and foremost we all talk about there's no characters in football, which I don't agree with. That seems to be a thing that's thrown out there. So we always look for a bit of personality and we always look for a bit of character. But I think sometimes it's your job as a coach, a manager, to allow players to show that, because I think what I've found sometimes is you become a wee bit fearful of big personalities or characters, or, you know, a wee bit bit of confidence and belief. So I always look for that. Coachability is massive, you know, for a young player to progress. They need the freedom to grow and express themselves, but they need to be coachable. They need to understand what it's like to be, you know, a Rory McKenzie, where you've spent so much time as a professional with such dignity and with such success and played so many games. They need to understand what that's like. They understand the game. They understand their strengths, and I'd probably pinpoint it on that. I think sometimes people get caught up and carried away in their own press of thinking that they can do everything in the game. I think you need to find your super strength, and we need to try and let that grow and flourish, and that for me would be the single most important thing for trying to make strides here. What I'm concentrating on and what's my focus is Kilmarnock Football Club.
And what can fans expect from Stuart Kettlewell's Kilmarnock?
I always believe that my teams are exceptionally well organised. I spend an awful lot of time on that along with the staff, of which I'm inheriting some real good staff here. We'll ensure we find that new normal as I speak about how I want to work, how I want to try and get that message across to the players. The one thing I believe is always there is that playing up to the very last kick of the ball. Hopefully that's been demonstrated in the past with, you know, late comebacks and being able to achieve wins late on in games of football. And then ultimately we want to entertain. This is a challenging league. This is a really, really difficult league. We understand that we play in a slightly different surface here, so we need to find a way or continue that fantastic home record that's been here. And we need to make sure that we find a way of playing on the road as well. All those games are different. All those games are unique. We want to try and put the ball in the back of the net. We want to try and score and be as creative as we possibly can. But I always believe that every part of that has to be done from a structure. So that never say die attitude, that opportunity to play right to the last minute of a game of football, but also we want to be versatile in our play, and we want to be able to sort of be a team for all seasons, for want of a better phrase.
And prep for pre-season will already be underway, I'd imagine. What are you hoping to instil from day one when you meet those players on day one?
I have a distinct way of working. Well, probably all of us as managers have. We have a game model, a way that we want to play. I feel mine is very definitive in that sense. I'll be able to evidence that to the players from day one, and I just look for them to buy into it. I hope that can maximise each and every one of their development, young and old, because I believe that everybody can improve. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get to know each other. We're going to have to drop the egos, is what I would always say. Leave the ego behind, because I don't believe in any of that at a football club. I believe we're all equals. Players will be treated with respect, and we just want to get down to work. Hopefully a few positive things happening behind the scenes for us in terms of pre-season, which hopefully we'll start to lay out as we go along, but getting a bit of time with each other, getting away, making sure they understand me and how I work, but also the human element for me to get an understanding of them and kind of what makes them tick.
And just finally, we take a lot of pride in being a big community club here. How important is the fans going to be in that role of the club in the community? Listen,
the heartbeat of everything, you know, that was something that was discussed when I was speaking to the directors. Such an importance here, arguably being the biggest community club, if you like, in Scotland, certainly right up there in that sense. The clubs that I've managed previously, the clubs that I've played for have been community clubs. It's something that I've always bought into, and this isn't just to pacify anybody, but you know, what is it out our day as a set of players if there's a holiday programme on for young supporters to spend a bit of time with their heroes and the team that the players they come and support, but that works twofold as well. I always think that that's then an opportunity for supporters to see that players and myself and the staff are human beings as well, and that you know, that we're pretty humble, we're pretty approachable, that we really want to try and build something with the community, because that is the strength of the football club. One thing I'll ensure I try and do at a football club is that every member of staff is joined up, is in unison. My door's always open, but as I say, I think that works the other way as well. If we can get that understanding with supporters, they can see our personality, they can see how much we pour in to try and help a football club, what the players are doing on the pitch. You know, sometimes you make a mistake by taking a bad bad touch, but you understand that player really is dedicated to the football club. I think it just brings us all together, and as I say, that's ultimately something that's happened at the football club. I'm not sitting here telling anybody that that's never happened before. It's just an opportunity for me to try and put my stamp on it in correlation with the players and the staff that are here. And as I say, hopefully when you do that and you perform well on a Saturday, you win games of football, that feel-good factor is really generated between us all.